Okay, Mr. Serrano here, looking at the sample questions for the computer-based test on the Algebra 1 EOC. So question number 1, dog has 8 square pieces of wood. Each piece of wood has a side length of S centimeters. So if you have S centimeters as the side, then the area of each square is S to the second power, S squared. But you have 8 of them, so we need to multiply times 8. And for area, so the total area is 200 square centimeters. And you would use the keyboard here, the keys, to type A. Let me see. You would type A, then the letter S, then you raise it here, put a 2, equals 200 using the keyboard, and that is all. It doesn't ask us to solve. We could solve for S, but we'll do that maybe at the end of the video. So let me see if I can clean the board and move on to question 2. If I manage to get out of, okay, here we go. It's gonna tell me I didn't answer it. It's okay. So I'll answer something. I guess I'm gonna have to do it. So 8s to the power of 2. Only one S, please. I don't know what's going on. So anyway, equals 200. And we are done. Okay, a premium ticket costs $20. And so that will be X, so let's put 20 there. A regular ticket costs 5 less than 20. 5 less than 20. Let's see. Change the color a little bit. So 5 less than 20 is 15. So we go back and put 15 there. And we're done. Okay, so now this is the difference of squares, which says that let me try to draw again. It says that A squared minus B squared is equal to A plus B times A minus B. So if we see this pattern and realize that X, Y, Z is A and 1 is B, if 1 is B, B squared is also 1. So all we have to do here is type in there A plus B, in other words, X, Y, Z plus 1. So that is the difference of squares. So 1 square is 1, and the square root of 1 is 1. X, Y, Z to the second power, the square root is X, Y, Z. So compare what I wrote here with whatever symbols you can put is the same thing. Okay, so in other words, to help it easier to understand, this is something squared minus B squared, so minus 1 squared. If I would just put a 2 here, maybe it would help see the connection between what I drew and what's on the question. Right? For the sake of time, let me move on. Okay, a function is shown, and what's going to happen if we multiply the function times 3? The best thing to do would be to multiply 3 times 2x plus 1. That's going to be equal to 6x, distributive property, 6x, don't forget the 1, plus 3. So we notice here that the y-intercept, which went from 1 to 3, increases, and also the slope, which went from 2 to 6, increases. Now, nothing happens to the x-intercept because of the following. If we leave the original equation, and for the x-intercept, y is 0, so this would say 0 0 is equal to 2x plus 1. When we solve for x is going to be equals to negative 1 over 2. And we can do the math at the end. So for those who understand how to get here, they don't need to see the long version of the video. So the other equation would be 0 is equal to 6x plus 3. And solving for x again, x is going to be equal to negative 3 over 6, which is also the same thing when we divide both top and bottom by 3, is the same. It's half, it's negative 1 over 2. Because 3 is half of 6 and 1 is half of 2. So nothing happens to the x-intercept, so we choose our two answers here. There's nothing else that applies, and that's it. We're done. We're ready to move on to the next question. Okay, the equation of the function is shown, so we know that y equals mx plus b. This would be y. That would be y. Negative 1 over 2 is m, and the y-intercept b is 3. So for the other function, g has a lesser y-intercept than f. What is less than 3? 1. 1 is less than 3. Also 2, but let me choose 1. 1 is less than 3, so we're going to put the y-intercept here. We're going to grab it and put it at 1. We could use 2 as well. Now it tells us that the maximum value of y and the y of the maximum value of function g and the y-intercept are not equal. So that means that this cannot be both the vertex and the y-intercept. It's going to be going down because it says g increases and then it decreases. So it's going to go this way. We know a quadratic is a parabola, so it's going to do that. But it says that the y-intercept cannot be the vertex. Okay, so we can think about it two ways. One is the easier way would be it's going to go up and then going to come down. So the vertex can be somewhere else. That's not the y-intercept. It's going to go, let me see, where is my vertex? Right there. So I'm going to place it, let's say over there. I didn't have to draw it perfectly, but you get the idea. It is going up first and then decreasing next. And the vertex and the y-intercept are not equal. So that's that. Okay, so the expression 15,000, the principal, times the interest 1 plus 2% interest to the m. can be used to model the sales in dollars of a company after M months. So they substituted 12 for M. The value of 12 was substituted for M. So that means 12 months right here. And that's exactly what we're going to type in. The period of time is 12 months. Okay, we're ready to go to the next question. Okay, so a table for a linear function is shown. My recommendation here is filling the gaps of this table. This table has -1. I always need to go back and I don't have the best equipment here. So you have -1 and -8. Try to fill in all the gaps. So -2 would be, if we go all the way to, sorry, not -2. Let me go forward. 0 comes right after if we go forward. So 0 and 1 and 2 and 3. And I notice that 3, 0 is here. So 0 goes here. So how many spaces between -8 and 0? We need to go by 2. Also going up, so -6, -4, 1 with -2, and 3, 0. So we have the two intercepts, and we also have the rate of change. This is going by 2 when x goes by 1, positive. So my y-intercept is here, 0 and -6. And my x-intercept is 3 for x, 0 for y. So now I'm ready to, so it's always useful when you have gaps here in between -1 and 3, between 3 and 6, to actually create our own table. So the x-intercept is 3, 0, so 3 for x. For y is -6. And the rate of change is not 1/2, it's 2/1 because y goes on top. Is y over x, like so. It's y over x, the change in y, I should say, and this little thing means change. Change in y over the change in x is 2/1, or just 2. So that's the rate of change. And that's it. Okay, so here you have to look at this line carefully, and what I noticed was that the best pattern, it took me a while, but it was like, if I show you with a drawing, see if I can change a different color and make it maybe a little thinner. I don't know if I could. Okay, so hopefully, let's see how my pen is working. So if I go there, that's 2, I didn't change the color, and 3 over 2 and 3 over. So it looks like the pattern is 2/3. Let me erase that just to see if I get another color and see if it works. So if I go here, it's 2/3, and then another 2/3, 2/3, 2/3, 2/3. So it seems to fit. It seems to fit the pattern of the line. So the only 2/3 is this one. 2/3x plus 19. So that's what we would choose there. Let me. Also, 6/8 doesn't make sense because they will use 3/4. Let me clear all my drawings. Let me choose. So I can select 2/3. There's only 2/3. And then based on part A, how can we find the highway fuel economy? Don't forget to read your labels. If I were to move this bar, you can see that the y-axis here says highway fuel economy versus the x-axis city fuel economy. So we're looking for y. We have the equation now. We just need to plug in y. Let me draw again. Y is equal to 2 over 3 times 43 plus 19. You know, following the, I'm going to do that in the calculator here quickly. I could bring down this calculator and do it. So let me see. Bringing down the calculator. Clear all drawings. So it said y is equal to 2 over 3, 2 over 3 times 43 plus 19. 41.33 rounded to the nearest hundredth, right? As it says right there, to the nearest hundredth. So we know that this needs to stay at 42 decimal places, so it's 41.33. What's going on with this keyword? 41. Make sure you're looking at the screen so you don't get a simple mistake like a typo. 41.33. And that's all there is to that. Okay, Giselle has 40 prizes for raffle ticket winners. So she's giving away 2 prizes each day until she has no more to give. The equation P plus 2T equals 40 does represent the situation. P is the prices and T is the number of days. So let's select the independent variable. That's going to be the time, because time is independent, and then P is the other one. So I just clicked on the T and it gave me T and P. Graph the relationship using the arrow. So I know that I start at 40. I'm going to add some points myself for explanation. I know that I have to start with 40 because you start with 40 prices. And then if you do on day 1, you're going to have 38 because you gave 2. On day 2, you're going to have 36 until eventually when you have 0 prices is on day 20. We can do the math later. I'm going to delete the points because what I need to draw is an arrow. So let me see if I can delete that. But that's basically the graph. So now let me add the arrow. So beginning with 40 and ending at 20. Because it's going to take 20 days to get rid of 40 prices. Okay, so the domain is the x values. This graph covers the x values. This, in other words, t, right? From 0 to 20. From 0 to 20. It begins at 40, so it doesn't go, let me erase here. It doesn't go to the left of 0, like that. Okay, so let's type it. The domain, the time is from 0, of course. Your starting time is 0 to 20 days, right? And she will give away all the prices after 20 days. In 20 days, she's gonna get rid of 40 prices because she gives 2 per day. Okay, great. So next. All right, so this is a table that when you add 176 and 74, when you add this way, 176, you add that to 74, you're gonna get that total there. So once again, let me bring my calculator. So this is a a two-way table where every row is a sum, you get every column too. So write the bus and do not write the bus are going to adapt to the total of the sixth grade, if you will. So let's see, 176 plus 74, and make sure I type that on the calculator, not 744. So it's going to be 250 here. All right. How do I find the next? I know that the total 400 is the total of the vertical column right there. 250 plus a number equals 400, so I can subtract. $400 minus 250 is 150, so I'm going to type 150 here, and doing the same here between 128 and 74. 128 minus 74 is 54. That means that 150 minus 54 on the seventh grade row, I have to have a 96 there, right? And 176 plus 96 is 272. And we can double check. 250 plus 150 is 400. Also, 272 plus 128 has to also give us 400. Let's check that. So this is just as simply as adding and subtracting. So 272 plus 128 is 400. So we did this right, and we're ready to move on. Let me clear my drawings, and let's move right along. Okay, so the first inequality, notice that the symbol less than does not have the little equal thing below. It doesn't have that, therefore the line has to be dotted. So let me erase that because it doesn't have it. When it doesn't have that, inequality number one does not have the equal sign under the less than symbol, so it's a dotted line. I just click on the dotted line and I don't need to calculate where the line goes. I just click on it and it does tell me the graph of y is less than negative x minus 1. Notice the slope is negative. Notice the y-intercept right here, it's at negative 1. So inequality 2 does have a equal sign, meaning greater than or equal to. So because of this little line right here, we're going to use the solid line for number 2 inequality, and it does that. Now click on the region to graph the solution. So if an inequality is less than, that means that I need to go below the line. So this is the area for the dotted line. I better draw it, not highlight it. So the area of the dotted line, but that's only one line. Now the area of the solid line is greater than, so is on top of the line. So if we go up, we're gonna go this way. So the solution is where both lines are graphed, or where I put lines on both graphs. So it's only this region right here that is under the dotted line and above the solid line. That's only here. That's only there. So this is going up because it's greater than. This is going down because it's less than. I could have done my arrows a little better, but not to be messy or anything. I'm gonna clear that. The point being that to click on the region, I just know that this is right here. And once again, let me verify. This is less than the dotted line and greater than the solid line. So I click there, and that's it. That's the solution. So if an inequality says less than, we're gonna shade underneath the line according to the slope being positive or negative. So make a straight arrow up or down, and that's how you know which way to graph. And make an arrow up or down again, and you know which way to graph. And that's it. That's all there is to that one. question 12, notice the change here between 600 and 624. That's only a change of 24, right? Now, when you go from 24 and notice the change here is 10, we may want to do the 2, the 3, and the 4, 5, 6, and we notice that this goes by 50. Plus 50, plus 50, plus 50. In other words, 10 times 50 is 500, and 700 plus 500 is 1200. So that's what 10 says, 1200. So that's linear when you're adding the same amount. So if function A is linear, that means that function B is exponential. Okay, so now it's time to read the sentences. Function A appears to grow linearly, and function B appears to grow exponentially. Okay, as x increases, so the longer we do the table, after 20, let's say we go to 40 or 50, know that we're gonna do that. As x increases, the quantities for one of the functions will eventually exceed the quantities for the other function. The only number that can exceed the next number is 1315, because right now it's under 1700. If it's going to exceed later, it has to be 1315, and eventually you catch up with and exceed 1700. So it is function B that's going to eventually, it hasn't exceeded it yet, but eventually function B, as x increases, will exceed the quantities for function A. And again, this is really something I want to do at the end of the video to look at the other explanation for that in graphs or something, but let me do that later. For now, I just wanted to give you like a quick how-to. Okay, so the survey here, this number just tell me how many people were used for the survey to calculate the number of people in a town of actual 17,247. So they used a sample that is obviously less than the amount of citizens of that town. That makes sense. So what we need to do is we need to use the 57% with a margin of error. The 57% with a margin of error of 2.2%. That means we're gonna add 2.2%, and we're also going to subtract 57 minus 2.2%. And this is gonna be the maximum, and this is gonna be the minimum that we're gonna use with the actual population, because the 2,060 people that was already used in the survey, and that was to determine the actual amount of 17,000 and plus people. So 57 plus 2.2 is 59.2%. 59.2%. At the same time, 57 minus 2.2% should be 0.2 less than 55, or 54.8. Is that right? I'll check the math. 54.8 it is percent. So what we need to do is we need to multiply. Let me bring the calculator down. I need to multiply the population, 17,000. Sorry, keyboard problems again. 17,000 247 times percent. We're gonna use it as a decimal of 0.592. 2 only. Okay, so rounding to the nearest whole number, we have 10,210. The rest of the people do not spend more than 2 hours. What are the problems? So that's the maximum. Let me see if I can get rid of this calculator. Okay. I lost the amount, but let me use my handheld calculator. So 17,247. Sorry about that. Doing my best here. Times 0.592. 10,210. That's the maximum. That's the maximum. I placed it on the minimum, so always be careful. Okay, now the minimum is going to be 17,247 times 54.8%, which is 0.548 equals, rounded to the whole number, is 9,451. So that's what happens when you have this symbol that you see next to the 2.2 around on the second sentence. You see that? You see that symbol? That means we need to add 2.2 and subtract 2.2 like we did. So that would be my answers for this question. And something is wrong with this clicking thing. Okay, so that's the end of this tutorial. If you're happy with the answers, you may stop the video right now. If not, let me see if we can now go back to some of the questions that maybe I did too fast. So thank you for watching up to here. If you wanted to see the long version of things, I am going to stay here for a few more minutes, only on a few questions. I want the Algebra 1 EOC again. You can do this at FS Assessments and try this yourself. So with the first question, we had said that if S is the side of a square, then the area is S squared. But we have 8 of them, so it's going to be 8 of them. That's going to be equal to 200. If we needed to solve for S, we divide both sides by 8. And it turns out that S squared is equal to 50, right? Yes, because 100 divided by 25. So 200 divided by 8. Looks like I need to do that to be sure. 200 divided by 8. It's actually 25. Okay. Never be too proud to use the calculator. Okay, so to solve for x, I need to take the square root on both sides. And so the side will be 5. The square root of 25 is 5. If we needed to, they didn't ask us here, but I wanted you to know how to solve for that equation right there. Okay, clear all drawings. Let's see what else we can expand on. Question 2. Okay, so I have to type something, whatever, in order to move on. Okay, so again, a premium ticket costs 20. I think this one was fine. 5 less than. So when we say less than, we have to start writing from, it's not 5 minus, so it's not 5 minus something. Don't do 5 less than, do 5 less than, right? Because remember, when you do less than with the symbol, it says to go to the left, right? If it was an arrow. So I do 5 less than 20. And that's going to give me 15. And 15 is 5 less than 20, right? What number is 5 less than 20? It's 15. Because if we take 5 from 20, we're going to get 15. So 15 is 5 units less than 20 units. So that was it. That was it for that. I'm not going to go over every single question just for the sake of talking. Just how to do less than. You do it to the left. Okay. All right, the difference of squares. So it says that any square, any number squared, a squared, could be, let's do even 9 squared, subtracted by another perfect square, such as 5 squared. That's going to be the same as the square roots when we add 9 plus 5, and when we subtract 9 minus 5. So 9 plus 5 looks like an 8, but it's a 9. So 9 plus 5 is 14. 9 minus 5 is 4. 14 times 4 is 56. Okay, as opposed to 81. 9 squared is 81. Minus 5 squared, so that's 9 squared, minus 5 squared is 25. If I subtract, bear with me, 81 minus 25, I'm going to change that to a 7, and this becomes 11. 11 minus 5 is 6, and 7 minus 2 is 5. So we see that this is true. So now what does that mean with this? What they're doing with xyz2 minus 1 is really minus 1, 2. They want us to do what we did here. They want us to, instead of squaring the 9 and subtracting the square of the 5, because we don't know what x, y, or z is, they just want us to write it as 2 factors of 9 plus 5 and 9 minus 5. Notice here that the 9 and the 5 lose their square. So look here, xyz lost the square, and the 1 square that I have here lost the 2, because 1 to the second power is the same as 1. So what am I missing here? I have the second parentheses. The first parenthesis has to be the same 2 bases, meaning with no exponent, xyz, but this time we need the plus. So it's xyz plus 1 times xyz minus 1. It just works. Let me clear this mess a little bit. So we have, again, a to the second power minus, it has to be a subtraction. B to the second power is the same as multiplying a plus b times a minus b. You just have to know that. And a difference of squares, the factors are a plus b times a minus b. Here we have a difference of squares. X, y, z, that is a square because it has a 2. And the 1 is a square because 1 is the same as 1 to the second power. So now this is going to be equal to 2 parentheses. And one is going to be a plus, the other one is going to be a minus. What's the first thing without the exponent? Is just xyz. xyz. And what's the second item without the exponent? Is 1. So what are you missing here? You're missing exactly and no less than this thing, xyz plus 1, and that's what you would type. Okay. Okay, so here was, why is it that, what's the x-intercept? Remember, f of x is the same as 0, so the y-intercept is when, the x-intercept is when y is 0. So we're gonna let 0 equal to 2x plus 1. Let me subtract 1 from both sides, and we get that negative 1 is equal to 2x. Let's divide both sides by 2. And so we get that x is equal to 1/2. Negative 1/2 is equal to x. When we multiply times 3, 3 times 2 is 6, so this is 6x plus 3. Again, it's going to be equal to 0 to find the x-intercept. So to find the intercept, the other letter is 0. So again, let me subtract 3 from both sides, and we get 6x is equal to negative 3, divide by 6, divide by 6, and x is equal to negative 3 over 6. Now, negative 3 over 6 is the same as negative 1 over 2 when we divide both the top and the bottom of a fraction by 2. If we divide by 2, that's supposed to be a division symbol, and we divide the 6 also by 2. Sorry, by 3, it should be both by 3. What am I talking about? 3 divided by 3 is 1, 6 divided by 3 is 2. My bad. And it's still negative, so negative 1 over 2. So the x-intercept neither increases nor increases or decreases, it stays the same. Let me see if I can clean this up a little bit better. S divided by 2. So I'm not at work, so I'm not using the nice Promethean board. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. Divide by 3, and the bottom also 6 divided by 3. Perfect. Is negative 1 over 2. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so this one, the first function is linear, and all we need to get from here is the y-intercept, which is when it is already given to you as f of x, that means that 3, positive 3 is the y-intercept. Now the quadratic functions either look like this, a parabola going up, or if it's negative, it's gonna go down. So G has a lesser y-intercept than f, so it has to be less than 3. I'm choosing 1. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag the intercept. If I could use 2 as well, or 0 even. Now, the maximum value and the y-intercept are not equal. What does that mean? So if I were to draw a parabola like this, with the parabola going down like that, you can see that the maximum value, the highest it goes, is also the y-intercept, right? But it says that it is not. So I need the parabola to have a different vertex, right? So I only have to be careful I don't make a positive parabola, because it says first g increases and then it decreases. So it's gonna go up first and then down, but like a parabola like that. Okay, so I just have to be careful not to put the vertex in the wrong way so that the parabola is going up. All right. So if I put the vertex, say somewhere in here, that's not going up first. That's going down first and then up. You see, so that's the wrong place. So it has to be higher then. Let me clear everything. So let me remove this vertex and move it anywhere. So that way we can see that it's going to go up first. Like first g increases, then it decreases. So it does increase and it will then decrease if I do my parabola like that and I go down. That's it. So that's perfect. That's all that needs. Doesn't need anything else. Okay, that was 12 months because M is months. Okay, I explained this about the table. Try to fill in the gaps on the table and see what the pattern is. So I believe the x-intercept was 3. As I can see that y is 0, x is 3, the y-intercept was negative c, and the rate of change was 2/1. Unfortunately, it doesn't let me just keep the question blank. Okay, so this one, I think I explained everything I needed to explain. We try to find the line of best fit. When that fails, we can choose 2 points or try to use these patterns on the points, and 2 or 3 was the one that happened the most, such as over here we got 2 and a run of 3 and another 2 and another run of 3 and another 2 and 2 and close enough with another run of 3. So that was the pattern. 6/8, they would have used 3/4. The other ones are improper fractions. That could be the case, but not in this case. It's not steep enough to be a number higher than 1. Okay, so it's not gonna let me move without typing anything. Okay, I think we went over this one, fair enough. So independent is time. You start with 40 and at 2 per day. You start with 40 and 2 per day, you only need 20 days to get rid of 40. Now it's not letting me do it. I think I'm graphing points and arrows. It's taking longer than it needs to. Okay, add arrow. Finally, 40 to 20. Okay, the domain is the x values or the t values from 0 to 20. Okay, this is adding 176 plus 174. It gives you that total. Then 400 minus what you got here by adding those two numbers goes here. This box here is 128 minus 74. And this box here is 400 minus 128. And whatever you get here minus 176 is going to give you that number. So at the end, all sixth graders you have to have a total. The two seventh graders, write bus, do not write, have to have a total here. As the ones that ride the bus, we need a total of the ones who ride the bus and a total of the ones who do not ride the bus, and it's all 400. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna add zeros because I don't have time to do the math again and do that. Okay, inequality is less than, no equal sign. Second inequality is solid because this inequality symbol is underlined, so that's solid. When it's greater than, you're gonna go up. When it's less than, you're gonna go down. So we need to go up here and we need to go down here. The only area that matches both is this area right here, right? Because right here, but we're below the dotted line. Here, for instance, it does go up for the solid line, but it doesn't go under the dotted line. So there you have it, clear, clear, and that's the area where it's under the dotted and above the solid. Okay, so this one we can discuss. That one appears to grow, and then as x increases, yeah, the more values we get on this table. The quantities for one of the two functions will eventually exceed. Eventually exceed means will eventually be bigger. So it means that one is at this time smaller than the other one, and function b is smaller. So just going by that, we know that function b hasn't exceeded 1700 yet, but will eventually. The answer gives me what I need to do. Will eventually exceed. It's a statement. They're not asking you. So function a. So as far as how do I know that function a was linear? So again, is if I were to do the tables and fill in the gaps, 0 is 700, and then 1 is 750. Let's say we just want to continue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That shouldn't be a problem. 800, 3 would be 850. You can do this on your own, and you will find that as you continue, 4 is 900. By the time you get to 10, you are going to get 1200. So whenever you have a pattern of adding plus 50 plus 50 plus 50, that's a linear equation. If not, is an exponential one. And because of the choices they give us, one appears to grow linearly and one exponentially. We know that A is the linearly, therefore B must appear to be exponentially, especially when they tell us that B will exceed A eventually. What does that mean? That the linear function grows like this, right? The linear function grows like this in a line, right? And the exponential function starts very slow, but eventually it catches up and it leaves it. So who's gonna get to the top the fastest? The exponential function. This is linear, and the one that curves and goes up really high really fast. And we saw this a lot for COVID, how the infections were spreading exponentially, meaning first only a few people had it, but eventually, boom, it explodes. It goes up. So we were trying to control it, get it into a linear mode, and at the beginning it was wild. The other one, which I'm gonna turn into a green color now. that's going to be an exponential growth because it's going up. If it was going down, it's called exponential decay. Okay. I think the minimum and the maximum, I explained that well. The 300 and 260 people realize that that's the people who does is used to estimate the actual amount of 17,000. So we're gonna use the actual amount to do our calculations. And I explained that the maximum is 57% plus 2.2% together, and the minimum is 57% minus, because of the sign below the plus, 2.2%. So we're gonna have two different numbers, the smaller number being the minimum and the other one being the maximum. We'll put 0 and 0 here so I can scroll over to the next question. And that's it. So thank you for staying with me. I hope this was really helpful.